Welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm talking all about cruising with children. So if you want to know some tips about cruising with kids, stay tuned. Okay, so these are going to be tips and information that I know of from cruising with Carnival Cruise Line, because I cruise with Carnival. So I'm not 100% sure about how it works on the other cruise lines, but I'm sure you could check their website or call or ask some other people who might know a little bit more information about that. But I know the first thing about with kids is you still have to pay the full price. So don't think just because your baby is small you're going to get a discount, unless they are the third or fourth person in the cabin. Then you get the discount anyway because it's a little bit cheaper for the third or fourth person. But if it's just you and your child in the cabin, then you're both going to pay full price. That's just something to keep in mind. The age doesn't matter, it's the amount of people. What Carnival does, if your child is 11 years or younger, they will all get a wristband, and that is to ensure that they know where your child's muster station is, just in case of an emergency. So when you go to the muster drill, they'll get a wristband and it'll have their muster station on there. And for the younger ones, like when we took my grandson, he was only 9 months old, so they put it on his ankle so he wouldn't pull it off of his wrist. But of course, if it comes off or if they lose it, you can always go to guest services and get a new one, or ask your room steward and they can get you one. And so that's just to ensure that if your child is, with the Carnival, the campers, and something happens, what they want you to do is go straight to your stateroom, get your life jacket and your child's life jacket, and go to your muster drill, because they will bring the child to you at your muster station. And that'll just help with keeping everybody on task of getting to safety. So you don't want to be running around the ship trying to find out where they got your baby when they got your baby at your muster drill waiting for you to come there. So that's just something to keep in mind. Carnival has what they call Camp Ocean, and that is their children's program. And the Camp Ocean is for ages 2 to 11. And you can sign them up once you go online before your cruise and you check in online. You can check in and you check your child in and you accept their Camp Ocean program. And then when you get on board and you go down there, you sign them in, and they break it down into different age groups within that span. So like 2 to 4, maybe 5 to 7, and then 8 to 11, something like that. So they'll have different activities for each age group, different spaces with different types of toys and stuff like that. And so it keeps them nicely separated by age. And their staff is really great with the kids. They're trained in the early childhood education curriculum, so they know what to do for each age group, and it works out really well. They also have babysitting services, but that's like an extra fee at night, or if you want, I think maybe on on port days, if you wanted to go out for a couple of hours. Of course, you have to pay for it, and you can just check with the people down at the camp to see how much their charges are. I know some people have paid for night if they want to go out and go to the club or whatever, and they don't have anybody to watch the child. Just pay an extra little babysitting fee. We also have a teen program, which is ages 12 to 17, and again, that's broken up into like what they call Circle C, and that is ages 12 to 14. And then they have the Club O2, which is ages 15 to 17. So then they have different activities for those separate groups, and they have parties, and some of those parties go till 1 o'clock in the morning. So they're definitely being entertained. If you're worried about your preteen or your teenager being bored, they definitely would not be bored, because the camps are really, really good at keeping everybody with full-time activities. Another program that Carnival has rolled out in the last couple of years is called Seuss at Sea, and it is Dr. Seuss, and they have activities throughout the cruise with that whole category. So I know they do a parade And they start from one area of the ship and they parade all around. They give you noisemakers and props, and you just walk around with the characters, and they go down to the main lobby. They go through there, and then they'll go to like the main showroom, and that's where the cruise director will do a story time. They usually sit, like, the kids can go on the stage and sit down and they'll read The Cat in the Hat. And then so the characters will come out, and they have The Cat in the Hat, they have Dr. Seuss, they have Thing 1 and Thing 2, and another character, I think the Lorax or somebody like that. But so throughout the ship, throughout the cruise, they go to parties and they do the deck things, and they're out dancing with you and everything, opportunity to take pictures and stuff. So, and then on the last sea day, they have a Dr. Seuss breakfast. That costs $5, and you can, once you pay the $5, and you go in for the party and the breakfast, and then you can just order whatever you want. And they have things like the characters, they sing with you. You can take pictures with each character. They have different food items. I'll pop some pictures in so you can see sort of what the Dr. Seuss breakfast look like. It's definitely worth the extra $5. Another thing that kids can enjoy on a cruise is the arcade, which is not free, of course, but there's lots of different video games and the crane games where you can win prizes and stuff like that. So you can make sure you set a spending limit for your child if they want to go down to the arcade. They have pools, of course, on the ships. Now, with the pools is, of course, hopefully you're there with your child supervising them so they're safe. But you have to be potty trained to go in the pool. So the company does not allow diapers or pull-ups or the swim diapers in the pools. And you cannot bring any floating devices or anything like that. I believe you can wear like the little swimmer vest and maybe some arm floaties, but you can't bring the rings. You can't bring like a float to stand on. You cannot bring a little baby pool. So your best bet with that is to just wait till you go to port and go find a beach or a resort if you want to go swimming. There are hot tubs on board, and there's signs posted that no kids are allowed in the hot tubs, but I know for a fact that they don't enforce that rule because it's always tons and tons and tons of kids in the hot tubs. Kids use it as like an extra swimming pool, so they're already not that big anyway. So imagine having 6 kids in there splashing and screaming and hollering. Yeah, so just be warned, they don't really enforce the no kids in the hot tub. Okay, so some other services that you can get for your children. So for free, you can get a crib. If your child still sleeps in the crib, you have to ask for it beforehand, or you probably could do it when you check in as well, but you can get a crib for your stateroom. You can get a high chair for when you go to dinner in the dining room, or a booster seat if they're too big for the high chair, and those are no cost. If you want a stroller and you don't want to bring a stroller from home, you can rent a stroller from the cruise ship, and that's like $10 a day if you want to rent a stroller, or you could just pay for the whole trip, and I think it's like $40 or $50, something like that, and then you would just have it for your whole trip. And they do require a deposit, and they give it back to you if nothing happens to the stroller while you have it. Another thing you can get is a cell phone if your child is going to the Camp Carnival. I think they have to be under 5, but you can rent it for free, but of course there's a deposit, which I think is like $150 just in case you break it or something. But it's for if your child is under 5, if your child has a disability, or if your child has any allergies, you can get the cell phone, so that way it's easier for them to contact you if something happens while your child is in their care. So it's a nice reassurance that if something goes wrong, they can call you right away on that cell phone and you can go down there and check on your baby. So on cruise ships, on Carnival, everybody has the sailing sign card, and that is your onboard expense card. That's how you get on and off the ship. That's how they identify you. And it's also how you purchase things. So everybody has to have an account, but you can set spending limits for your children so they're not just swiping their card for whatever. You can put a limit on the card, and you just go down to guest services and tell them what you want the limit to be for the cruise. I believe you can also set a daily limit if you'd rather do it that way. You know, give them $30 a day or $20 a day or something like that. Or you have the option of just not allowing them to have spending at all. So you can turn off the charging for that particular sailing sign account. Some ships have play areas for younger children. Like if you're too young to go to Camp Carnival, they have, like on the Triumph, I know because we were on the Triumph, they had a designated play area on one of the top decks, and they had little climbers, they had little push cars and toys for smaller children. So that was really nice because at the time my grandson was 9 months old, so of course he couldn't go to the camp, but we still wanted him to be able to crawl around and have some fun. So that was a really nice little play area. And the last bit of advice I have is to just check your daily fun times. Every day they give you a fun times, or you can download the Carnival Hub app and you can check the fun times right from your smartphone. And there's just all types of activities throughout the day. They have scavenger hunts aboard the ship. They have, you know, pool activities, arcade activities, lots of different things that the kids can do to be entertained. Or just hang out as a family. Take your child up on the top deck. They have miniature golf. Lots of them have like pool tables or ping pong. They have, the newer ships have like sky rides, of course the waterworks. And a lot of the water parks have smaller areas for the little kids, like splash pads or smaller slides. If they're older, they can get on the bigger water slides. There you have it. Those are my tips for traveling on a cruise with children. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big like. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If there's something that you have done with your children on a cruise that I did not mention, let us know in the comments below so people who are watching and are curious can find out. Thank you, and I will see you in my next video.